Well, good morning, Shelby. Thanks so much for joining me on the video chat this morning. How is your Monday going so far?
My Monday's going great. I had a really great weekend catching up with a lot of my friends and kind of checking in on how they're doing during midterm season for college. So it's the start of an interesting week for sure.
Yeah, well, that's great that you got to catch up with friends because I know you have your hands full with so many exciting projects, let alone school and everything that you're working on. I mean, gosh, it's like, you're a Nat Geo Young Explorer. You're the founder of Junior Ocean Guardians and the No Straw November Challenge. And you're also working with the Voteless Not Voiceless campaign as well. I mean, you're a freshman or a sophomore in college?
I'm a sophomore this year.
Gosh, you have accomplished so much in your young life already. How did all this begin? What sparked it all?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I grew up in California, which is known as, the beach highlight land of everything. Everyone thinks that everyone lives at the beach, but I grew up in an inland community surrounded by agriculture. My high school mascot was a hay baler, so it's just like very constant around me. And I rarely saw the ocean growing up due to not, seeing it in my backyard. So I didn't necessarily grow up with this like I need to save the ocean kind of mindset. It really took a turn when I went to an aquarium program when I was younger, all about highlighting the importance of women getting into science. And that's kind of where it just blew my mind. And I then quickly fell in love with the ocean. I realized how beautiful it was inside and out. And I just developed this overwhelming sense of needing to protect it.
Yeah, well, that first experience sounds like it set you in the right direction and put a little, fire in your step and everything because you've done so much. Now, what came first? Were you awarded the Nat Geo Young Explorer first and then you started Junior Ocean Guardians? Or tell me the timeline of how all that stuff began.
Right. So I started Junior Ocean Guardians when I was in high school, and I was just recently awarded a National Geographic Explorer title. But Junior Ocean Guardians started when I was in high school, trying to learn how I can make a difference. And I started Junior Ocean Guardians for my Girl Scout Gold Award project, which is the highest award a Girl Scout can earn. You truly have to earn it. It's so much hard work. And I was lucky enough for my Girl Scout project to be named a National Gold Award Girl Scout project. So it was just kind of like this huge um, reward that I got from just having to put in so much time and effort into my gold award. And I loved being part of it. And so I still work really close with the Girl Scouts today. But it was mainly that started, and then down the line, then I became a National Geographic Explorer.
Got it. And then what sparked the whole No Straw November challenge? That is so exciting because you got to work with brands and local officials and everything, and you started this incredible movement. And I don't know what the number is now with the folks that you work with or anything, but it's like you've helped to, keep like almost 40, 50 million straws from entering the waste stream because of your work. Talk to me about that.
Right. So my main goal starting out was educating young children on how they can help inherit the ocean, and that's still my main goal. But I was talking to kids in classrooms, and I was trying to challenge them and get them involved, but they had nothing really challenging their constant lives, something that they didn't know how to get involved quite easily. So I created No Straw November, with the idea of giving school children something easy that they can follow. And then it just kind of grew as I started talking to more people about it, and I started reaching out to different companies and organizations that I saw were using single-use plastic either through a straw or like a coffee stir, just something that I felt like they weren't fully like um, keeping in check when they were looking at their green footprint. So I just started reaching out to all these people of the tiniest things that they might not have even noticed that ultimately add up to so much more. And that's kind of where I started. I started emailing a lot of different CEOs, and everyone just kind of, I felt like my emails became infamous in a little bit because every company's like, oh no, the girl reached out to us.
That's incredible. What do your peers say when they see all these things that you're working on? What was their reaction to the No Straw November challenge? What did you learn from that too?
Right. So, like I said, I grew up in a pretty agricultural area. And that kind of tends to come with a more conservative bunch due to just history. And so it was kind of hard growing up in this area with everyone always being like, "Oh, straw girl," trying to make straw jokes. But it's like, okay, sure. It's not like I haven't heard this before at all. So it was a little hard growing up in my area and everyone just kind of not understanding the larger issue of plastic. And I didn't really understand why people were making jokes and comments about something that's overall helping the planet. And I would get a lot of comments saying, "Oh, why don't you just focus on climate change? Climate change is such a larger issue." And it's like, it was very concerning to see how people didn't understand how plastic was directly correlated to climate change and how, the combustion, everything overall totaling plastic, they're direct links and you can't separate them. And it's a huge issue that we all need to work on, not only educating our peers, but just connecting the dots for everyone to see that a lot of environmental issues we face are connected. So that was kind of hard, but now that I feel like I'm at one of the most liberal colleges on the planet at UC Berkeley, it's pretty easy to find support. But growing up, it was pretty hard, always having to educate my peers. And there were people who supported me, and I really appreciate them. But it was just mainly seeing the lack of education regarding environmental issues that we face.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what year is this for the No Straw November Challenge, and where do you hope it will go in the future?
Right, so this is our fourth year, and I really hope that, when I started No Straw November, straws weren't a known issue. Like wasn't a thing that people were very aware about, and it acted as this starting point for a lot of people. And I hope people continue to take this starting point long beyond the straw. And I really hope that No Straw November kind of becomes this not only starting point for people, but an encouraging point for other people to understand how they overall affect the planet, either positively or negatively. And I just hope No Straw November continues to grow within people finding this accepting community to start their plastic journey with.
Yeah, straws seem to be an easy place to start the conversation
Right.
and move it into other areas and everything. And I always look at, when we talk about climate change, it's so large, it's such a big issue that it's hard to find a way to, address it. It's like, well, what's the first thing that I do? Because it is such a big issue. It's kind of like world peace. How do you solve world
Right.
peace? It's a billion different actions that you have to do every single day. How do you solve climate change? Well, you have to take a look at the billions of actions every single day that lead to climate change, right? And straws are a
Exactly.
great place to start. What else do you think? What are other areas do you think people should be working on aside from just the straws?
Right, so I'm always a huge supporter of education. Actually going into college and not just directly working in the environmental field, I faced some backlash, and everyone was like, "Well, we don't have a lot of time. Why are you going to college?" And college is always something that I personally wanted to, experience, and I feel like going to college has made me so much more of a well-rounded person to understand the different issues that we face, and I've been able to take so many amazing classes. And through those classes, you do see a lot of cases of injustice, racially injustice within the environmental sector, and understanding how we still face a lot of those issues that people don't associate with the environment, such as racism and different, economic brackets that face different issues. No one really contributes that to the environment. And I think intersectional environmentalist has done a great job of highlighting that key part that we need to stop separating all these movements because in reality they're all connected. And I think the sooner that we understand that, the sooner we can kind of work to solve the key issue of all of those.
Yeah, no, well said. It seems like, Shelby, that, with all the good work that you're doing, there is still some tension with your peers in all this. How do you fight through that? How do you get through it? Because I think there's other young people that are concerned about what others think of them and everything, and it could derail the direction that they're going on. But you have persevered. You have stayed strong. How do you do that?
Well, I wish I had like a simple formula to give people. I think it's just kind of understanding that I know what I'm talking about and that I've gone through this like extensive training of like different marine knowledge and at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and just kind of understanding that I know what I'm talking about and all these small issues ultimately add up. Um, and I don't know. I feel like I've just gotten to the point in my life, I'm 19 years old, but it's like I don't really care what other people have to think about myself. Ultimately, I'm just trying to do something to better the world, and either they're gonna like it or they're just gonna, dislike it. So it's just kind of owning what you have and always understanding that you'll have critics, but it's fine. you know.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, haters gonna hate, right? And
Right,
there's
exactly.
nothing you can do about that. Look, let's talk about the Voteless Not Voiceless campaign because I'm really interested in hearing more about that, but your connection to it as well. Talk to me about that campaign and how you're
Right, so
involved.
that's an amazing campaign that's highlighting the overall importance of voting, and it's basically to get all these young kids who can't vote yet because of our age group. This will be my first time voting in a political election, so I'm presidential election, so I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to hopefully make history and change so many amazing things in our country. But that campaign is all about uplifting youth and really trying to have the larger group of people who can vote listen to their voice and overall understand that just because they can't vote doesn't mean that they aren't civically engaged and that that they care about the environment tremendously. So I'm contributing to that group through No Straw November. No Straw November each year does a different beneficiary group. So we give funds to different groups that we think are truly supporting the environment or they just need to be uplifted in some way. So I'm really proud to announce that, Voteless Not Voiceless, excuse me, will be receiving some funds from Nostra November.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's like here you are at 19. I mean, so much going on here. You've accomplished so much. You're about to vote in your first presidential election, which is historical for you. You're part of this campaign and everything. As you listen to your peers that are involved in this campaign, the Voteless Not Voiceless campaign, what are you hearing from them? What are their biggest concerns? And what do they want to get across?
Right. I mean, their biggest concerns are the tremendous environmental rollbacks that we've seen, the issue of climate change and how we need to address it sooner than later. And just overall, the just caring about the environment is just a huge kind of thing that we've seen a lack of within this current presidency. And just having our voices heard, not only understanding that I feel like my generation is probably the most accepting generation that I've ever met. We all really, truly care about each other and we just want to make sure that we're all okay. And any way that comes in. And we also see a lot of racial tensions that I think my generation is an amazing spokesperson for, and just understanding that we're more beautiful with diversity. So we see a lot of amazing people working for that within the campaign, and just overall wanting people to come together. And we don't want bipartisan, we don't want to have such a divided political system. We want everyone to come together and really just level the playing field for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that, Shelby. It's like wanting to protect human life. I mean, how is that divisive, right? It's like
Exactly. Yeah.
it just doesn't even make sense that people are divided over how we want to live in the future and everything. Gosh, it's like there's so much going on in your world. I'm super excited to continue following everything that you're doing and how you're inspiring young people, but also how you're motivating older people, you and your peers. Now, I think, is your generation still called Gen Z, or have they moved on to call you guys something else? Is it Gen Alpha? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I know it's really funny because we call the older generation boomers,
Yeah.
and I believe that my generation is starting to become zoomers. So
Zoomer. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm labeling all of you in your peer group Generation Purpose because obviously you guys have a purpose in life, and it's really exciting to see how you're using your voice to bring awareness to important issues that grown-ups like myself have been ignoring for a long time. So thanks so much for everything that you're doing. It has been such a pleasure learning more about you. And more important, it's like I want to find ways that we can collaborate together. My organization is called Vote the Ocean, and what we do is we inspire people to take action to protect our ocean. And I think that there are ways that you and I can come together and bring more of your peers into the conversation and give them a voice and a platform.
Right. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me as well. I think it's I really applaud you for uplifting youth voices, and it's so nice to just plead my case for the environment and the youth.
We'll keep speaking up, keep standing up for these issues and everything, and I look forward to seeing more exciting stuff coming from you in the future. Thanks so much, Shelby.
Thank you.